name's Joy, and this is my first time in Vancouver, but if you're from here, join the Black Fan Club.
What's up, Black Fan Club? It's your boy Ryan Davis, and I'm in your city. It's all coming together. It can be a family reunion.
Yo, what's up, Black Fan? What's up, everybody? Yo, all my people, all my Caribbean brothers, my Haitian brothers, my Zimbabwe, Nigeria, everybody. Black Fan, come see your man. Oh, boom, 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 boom.
Welcome to Black Fan Club, a digital platform for Black creatives, events, and changemakers shaping culture and community in Vancouver. I'm your host, Ruby, and today I'm thrilled to welcome a very special guest to the podcast, poet, multidisciplinary artist, and community tender, Fanny Kearse. Fanny is a Black, queer, Jewish, disabled human whose work is deeply rooted in themes of grief, joy, self-reclamation, and healing. They're also one of the creative forces behind Glimmers, a powerful docu-series, an upcoming live show that explores the healing power of collaboration, art, and witnessing. Welcome to the show, Fanny. It's a pleasure to have you here.
It is a pleasure and an honor to be here. Thank you for having me, Ruby.
Yes, I'm excited to have you on. We had a little chit-chat before the viewers could hear and the listeners could hear what we were saying. And I think it's a perfect day to introduce yourself to our community. The community in Vancouver is full of creatives, people who have been doing work for many years now. So this is nothing new to you. And you are here to, inform, educate, and pass on the knowledge that you have. So thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for having me and for that beautiful introduction. One of the things you said about sharing knowledge and passing on knowledge, it's so important to me to be able to do that in community in the ways that it's been done for me. Yeah. And that's partly how the whole idea for Glimmers, the docu-series, started with my partner and I. Collaboration and being in community is a really big part of both of our artistic practices. And when we were looking at this grant and trying to come up with an idea for what we would create, I was like, well, why don't we, show people what it is that we do? Because so many people ask me questions like about how do you collaborate in good ways, and like how does that happen, that you become connected and create and like grow something together? Because I think it can be hard enough to like create as an individual artist and like find avenues and ways to make that happen. And so when you're dealing with multiple different humans with multiple different needs for their bodies and different schedules, like even, just logistically thinking of that to be together to create. I think it can be hard for some people to conceptualize how that all happens. Yeah. And it is truly one of my favorite parts of my art practice. So it was really like, how can we show this and invite people into it? And that's how Glimmers, the idea, came to be for the docu-series.
Yes, I was going to bring it up, but you've brought it up already, so we can just dive right in. So okay. I think for people listening, they're like, okay, what is Glimmers? And who is Fanny exactly? Because a lot of the times when I post events, people may not know or have the background. So for me, I'm an individual who's taken the time to research, to go out and meet people and attend events. But for someone who's never heard of you, heard of the project, and they're in Vancouver and they're like, hey, I want to see dope, cool poets, people, tell them a little bit about Glimmers, what it's about, and just a little bit about how it began, I guess, the inception story.
Yeah, absolutely. So Glimmers began with my partner and I being like, what are we gonna write this grant about? And that's really how the idea came to be, is that we really wanted to show how community and collaboration provides so much good medicine and healing for us within our art practice. I think being somebody who is disabled, somebody who is marginalized,
Mm-hmm.
being in community can be difficult.
Yes.
And so something that I strive to do as a poet, as a host, as a facilitator, and a community tender, as a person who hosts and produces events here in Vancouver, event accessibility is really important to me. And I think that that's something that's different that people will see at my events. And that's something that I've learned from my past years of experience being a social worker when I still lived in Saskatchewan. And then a lot of new learnings that I learned when I arrived here in Vancouver, a lot of amazing learnings about accessibility actually through Vines Art Society, and specifically through Marcelo Ponce, have really helped shape and form how I believe space can and should be held so that more people are able to be included. And so, like little things like at Glimmers, our poetry music event that's happening on March 27th, I'm really excited that we're able to offer ASL interpretation, and the venue is fully wheelchair accessible with gender neutral washrooms. So Glimmers, this idea came to conception with my partner and I, and it's kind of a two-part thing, because Glimmers is a docu-series that follows 4 BIPOC disabled artists here in Vancouver. Through interview, we interview each artist, and then it is also following us as we're getting ready for this live poetry music show. So the docu-series is like a show within a show. So the docu-series show version of Glimmers will be released later this summer, sometime in July. Okay. And then it's so exciting. And then the live poetry music show will be on March 27th, coming up here on Performance Works at Granville Island.
That's amazing. I didn't realize that it was actually, it's so, like you're saying, a show within a show. We're part of the process.
You're part of the process.
I guess if you are attending, I guess you will be in the docu-series?
You will. You'll be in the final episode.
No, well, that's amazing that you made it that way. It's very interactive, and also documenting the journey. I think that's important. For me, I think finding that information and also that community, and then you releasing it in this docu-series is important, to have that information archived and brought to light. Because I find that sometimes with events and community in Vancouver, it sometimes can be a one-off thing, and it's hard to sustain or document some of the stuff. And I think you touched on some good points in terms of accessibility. So in terms of people with disabilities, people with illnesses, people who identify, differently in the LGBTQIA, non-binary communities, I think, and Black community. It's hard to find space. And I think what you're doing and the collective storytelling, poetry, and art that you're creating is very important to the city. And you've been doing it a long time. You mentioned that you created this with your co-creator Q. Yes, and that is your partner as well?
Yes, Q. Okay. Yeah, Q is my partner, my co-creator at life and at art, we like to say.
So how is that working together? Because that can be interesting as well, being, lovers and collaborators.
So sweet. The way that you asked that, Ruby, that was so sweet.
I know because, I'm in a relationship too, so I can imagine trying to work with my significant other. So, it brings a different perspective, I can imagine.
I
challenges
think,
too, I'm sure.
And I think that's just it. I mean, it's so beautiful, and also sometimes it's challenging. I think that it potentially, at least for us, can make the highs higher and the lows lower as we're riding it together. And also there's just no human on this earth that I trust more deeply or implicitly than Q. And coming from that place of trust and reciprocity is really how we're holding the whole project and creating. So I think in many, many ways, it's deepening and strengthening our relationship. It's also for me personally, just to be totally honest and vulnerable, it's brought up a lot of insecurities for me that I was really surprised at, actually. Just watch, so Q is more somebody who's behind the scenes. Q is a photographer and a documentarian of beautiful things. They just have a beautiful eye. And they've been learning so much throughout this process. They were getting into video before we got the grant, but this has really been, a baptism by fire of like learning more skills and just like rapidly just taking on so much knowledge. And so
relate.
Yeah, you can relate for sure. You're doing it all. And so watching them just not only develop so many skills, but refine so many skills and get really flipping good at it. Like, where they're already good and just like, it's blowing my mind. I have so much just pride and joy and admiration and excitement for them. And also there was like, it brought out like the little small parts of me of like, am I doing enough for this project? And then in other ways, like, do I have enough skills? And, like, am I creative enough? Like, can I keep up? And, all of these things. So it's just bringing, so much to the surface.
You're preaching to the choir because I think I can relate to that as well. Like the themes of like questioning yourself as you are working through a project. Obviously, mine is in a different regard in terms to media, blogging, events, but it's something that's new to me. I don't do this. This is not my full-time job. This is something I learned. It was a passion. And, sometimes you question yourself. Maybe you're in a room with people and you're like, okay, am I doing it right? And then I kind of have to remind myself that, hey, this is part of the journey. I'm not an expert. Nobody's born an expert. And it takes a lot to dig in and hone that insecurity and learn from others as well. Like saying, hey, this is not my strong suit, but this is someone else's strong point, or this is what they bring and this is what I bring. And together we're making magic and being collaborative. So I think that's beautiful that you and your partner can work together collaboratively and create something that has come from the both of you, I guess.
It's like in so many ways it feels like, a proverbial baby, so to speak, like where, we're kind of gestating this thing and have been quietly, working on things. And now it's like we're letting it out in the open and inviting people in. So that's really exciting.
That's a good metaphor.
Thank you.
The poet coming out.
Oh, yes. There she is.
Yes.
And I can't believe I also forgot to mention, I just have to say that the other artists involved in the docu-series project are Adonis Critter King and Brandon Wint, two other Black brilliant poets in Vancouver.
That was my next question. It was going to be like with Adonis, I've met them as well.
Yes.
And Brandon, I don't think I have yet. I'm not sure if I have.
Well, I hope you can come on the 27th and meet Brandon. He's fantastic. He's a stunning human being.
I have seen their work online.
Okay.
But what drew you? That was the question. What drew you to these collaborators? And how it has working with them helped shape this project and move it forward, I guess, as individuals.
Yeah.
So you can start, I guess, with Adonis, and then we can go on to Brandon.
Okay, perfect. So that's such a beautiful question. I'll just say this first. Initially, I think Q and I had thought that maybe we would include more artists in the project. We had initially had just a slightly different idea. Which I think I'm not going to share because stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Keep it under wraps.
I think things might still happen with that in the future.
Yeah.
And so and when we got the grant, when we were just thinking about things and how are we actually going to make it work, the idea did shift a little bit because I was like, okay, we need to shift things, you know, like what I know, what we know is how to put on a poetry show. So like, you know, and so then it shifted a little bit to like what artists we're going to ask and what artists we're going to include. And Adonis is somebody who I am a huge fan of.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
they're a fantastic poet. They're an amazing human being. The way that their brain just plays in this Afro surrealist realm, it's beautiful. I'm so drawn to it. And you know, it's actually a story that gets told in the docu-series, but Adonis and I met through facilitating through Vancouver Poetry House. So we were just, you know, I had never met Adonis, and we were just standing in a gym full of students, and, you know, I don't even know if we'd introduced ourselves before I saw Adonis perform their poem. And this poem that they performed, it just ripped me open, you know. And there was this one line where they're talking about the moon, and they howled, and they made a big howl, and all of the kids and myself are just howling back in the gym, and it was just so beautiful. And I mean, I fell in love with them then. And then a couple of years ago, Adonis and I, sort of like on a whim, we collaborated on a poem called A Love Letter to Black Joy. And we had such an amazing chemistry, just like working back and forth on this poem. It was just, it just felt so good.
That's a powerful title.
Thank you. Yeah. And I mean, at that moment, I was just like, I look for ways to collaborate with them again in the future. And we've developed a friendship, and then also Adonis holds a bi-weekly writing group that I'm involved in. And so, just like being really connected creatively when this opportunity came and the way it shaped, to me, it was a no-brainer to ask Adonis, and Q loves Adonis's poetry. So we were both like, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, Brandon, very similarly. The first time that I met Brandon was actually the first birthday party I had when I moved to Vancouver, and I hardly knew anyone.
Wow.
I hardly knew anyone. And somebody I had also known from Vancouver Poetry House brought Brandon to that birthday party. And in my living room, of all places, was the first time I heard Brandon Wint. Brandon Wint's poetry. And it just also broke my heart open. And then Q similarly has had some really beautiful creative opportunities with Brandon. They've done some photography shoots together that are just stunning. And Brandon, you know, sees in Q what I see in Q too in this way creatively. And Brandon had actually asked Q to collaborate on some videos, and it just like didn't align with Q's school schedule and health schedule. And not health schedule, pardon me, just with Q's health and their school schedule when Brandon had asked. And then, when this opportunity came up, Q was like, I think we've got to ask Brandon. And I was like, absolutely. And it's been such a beautiful, harmonious process. The four of us spending time together has been a beautiful dynamic. Getting to know each other in these different and deepening ways has been beautiful. We've all had different little health flares also throughout the process. So supporting each other within this BIPOC disability community has been deeply, deeply, deeply nourishing. And then I also have to, of course, mention that the poster art was created by another fabulous Black trans person. Nike King created our beautiful, beautiful poster art, and definitely check their art out. It's so cool. They're a beautiful visual artist.
Yeah. I mean, you can definitely check it out. For people listening, you can check it out on Fanny's page. I will link it. They post the most artistic, beautiful pieces and artwork and cover work. So I'll definitely link it in the episode. But thank you for breaking down those two artists. So if you're coming, you're definitely going to be introduced to some amazing, amazing artists, creators, and poets at this show. So I think we touched. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I just also wanted to mention the musicians supporting us throughout the show are also, they're amazing.
Kinfolk?
Kinfolk Nation is They're my family.
I'm obsessed with one of their songs. I have it on my playlist, the Vancouver's Finest playlist.
Oh,
Um, I forgot the title of it, but
is it something
yes,
beautiful? Yes.
something beautiful. Oh my
Yeah.
God, the harmonies,
Yeah, it's so
it's just
beautiful.
so beautiful, but also haunting in a way,
Yeah.
and just
It's my
there's
lullaby. I
and
listened to it so it was in
yeah,
my
and
top five most played
it
songs.
almost kind of reminds me of an African spiritual, because I'm
Mhm.
African. So it
Yes.
has that the harmonies kind of remind me of those vocal choirs that
Yeah.
they have.
Yes. Well,
Um,
Trophy is from Rwanda and Dia is from Ghana.
oh, okay. Okay,
Yeah.
that's good. I mean, I can hear the African influence, the
Yeah.
drum, the harmonies, the
Hmm.
acoustic sound that they have on that song. It's amazing. It's quite a long song, but you know what? It's just I play it all throughout 10 minutes of it,
Oh
and
yeah.
it's just so soothing.
It's so
And
soothing. And
and
it's such a great like little meditation.
yes, I was
It's
about
like a
to say that.
reset, you know?
Yes, so I mean, that's amazing. I've never seen them live, but I can imagine that type of energy in the room. Um, that would be incredible to experience. So yeah,
Yeah.
if you're interested, you can listen to them on my Vancouver's Finest playlist. You can find the Kinfolk Nation song on There's Something Beautiful. So check it out
Yeah.
before you come to the show, everybody.
Yes, please.
But I think I'll just double back. I guess you were talking about holding space in Vancouver's
Hmm.
creative community as a
Hmm.
Black, queer, disabled artist, right? So I guess for me, my question would be, what has been your experience, I guess, in terms of finding that community? I know you mentioned earlier you moved from, I can't remember, you said
Regina.
Regina,
Yeah.
okay, to Vancouver. I think that's a very common experience. A lot of people are transplants. They're not
Hmm.
from here. I'm not from here originally. And finding that community and navigating it in terms of the creative community and the poetry community. How difficult was it to find people? I know you narrated the stories how you met Adonis and how
Hmm.
you met Brandon, but on a personal level, I guess for someone who's also who was in your shoes, maybe they're currently in that situation right now, and they're saying, "How can I connect with Fanny and all these amazing people? I identify with what they're saying, and I want to be part of it and connect with these amazing, beautiful people and hold space and maybe create as well." What can you just say to that individual?
Yeah, I think especially to an individual who's new to Vancouver and looking to build community, like hang in there. Hang in there. I am divinely blessed that I have found and collected and attracted the folks that I have since I've got here. And just the one thing that I can say to somebody else that really helped me guide me as I have been building and tending to community since I moved here is just to stay in conversation and in relationship with the type of community that you believe is possible for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So I think in moments where, I was maybe trying to make or forge a connection and it wasn't firing or it wasn't working or it was mismatched, or even maybe if there was something hurtful that happened when I first moved here, I just stayed in conversation and relationship and honestly with communion, with the belief that like I know the community that I believe in is possible. And
Mm-hmm.
because I stay connected to that belief, I believe that it grows around me. And it takes a lot of like intentional tending to
Yeah.
and like looking at and seeing what's connected and what's aligned, and giving help when I can give help, and then also asking for help when I need it,
Mm.
and knowing that that's going to be reciprocal and keep going and coming back.
How do they like, are there any specific groups they can join, or
Mm.
or events that happen monthly, weekly, space, or creative spaces like you mentioned, a writing workshop? I mean, I'm not sure if it's open to anybody, but and
Yeah.
just for them to kind of get their foot in, I
Yeah,
guess.
that's such a
'Cause,
good question.
yeah.
That's such a good question. I mean, yeah, the writing group that I'm a part of, it's not an open
Hmm.
writing group, but I have seen a lot of workshops coming up, like at Vancouver Black Library, which would be
Hmm.
great for creatives. Couch jams is,
Yeah, they're good.
yeah, they're great. I've only been once, but they're great, and I know that that's monthly, which
Yeah.
is consistent, which is nice. I'm not sure if Vancouver Poetry House is going to have their return. If
Hmm.
they used to have a weekly slam, but that has been stopped. But I also saw that it was like started back up last week,
Hmm.
so there could be that.
And
But
the
yeah,
Vines Art Society.
yeah, so I'm a part of Vines Art Society, and we offer a lot of various different free programming. There's not like a consistent um like writers group per se, but there's
Hmm.
a lot of different workshop activities. There's
Yeah.
just like different events that happen at Vines. I think also for folks who are potentially like new to the city, and even if you're not new to the city, but you're just looking to build community, and maybe community that's more deeply rooted in art and in
Hmm.
healing. Um, I think sometimes, yeah, signing up for like volunteer things, like specifically with Vines Art Society or through my events or with VBL, can
Hmm.
really help people get like deeply connected in a different way. So many of the connections that like I've made throughout my life is because I went as an individual. I either went to an event by myself because I was,
Yes.
it really helps. And I know
That's
it's
how you and I
scary.
met.
Exactly. It's like, I know it's scary out there, people, but like go to an event by yourself. Like if
It's
you're feeling called to do it, do it. Or
it's
like
n- it's the best thing
volunteer by
ever.
yourself. Yeah. It's just,
Honestly, I used to be that person that was felt deeply insecure about going places alone. And I
yeah.
think when COVID came about, it really shifted my thinking because it's like
Mm,
I don't as to me I'm like there's no reason to wait, you know. It's obviously beautiful to experience things with others, but there's a beauty in experiencing something magical on your own as well. And
yes.
overcoming that fear is just the initial step. Once you do it one or two times, initially you just get over yourself. It's an ego thing, I think. It's an
Yes.
ego thing for me. I can't speak personally for anybody else, but for me, it was an ego thing, an insecurity thing. And once I got over myself, and I'm like, hey, nobody cares. You're
Yeah.
here. Like most people aren't even paying attention to you for real, for real. Like
Yeah.
you can just go vibe on your own. And the best thing about it is you're there on your own terms. You don't have to wait for
Yes.
anybody. You can leave anytime you want and you don't have
Yeah.
to accommodate other people whereas when
Exactly.
you're out as a group or and stuff like that, and you learn a lot about yourself. You learn to be more secure in yourself,
Yes.
and I guess less performative maybe, and perhaps less people pleasing
Yes.
um when you, I guess, do individual things for yourself.
Yeah. And
And I'm not saying encouraging being selfish. I'm just saying being selfless, I guess.
yeah, and because I think sometimes we just like, we forget that like ourself just like needs a minute, to like
Hmm.
to be singular sometimes. And I think the other thing that that we forget is it's really powerful to hold space for folks. I mean, it's part of the point of being alive, and it's
Mm.
deeply powerful and healing to have space be have space held for us. And also it's deeply empowering when we can hold space for ourselves. And I
Mm.
think when you go and do something solo, you're like, oh, I just have me. You're not,
Yeah.
like you said, you're not accommodating. It's not people pleasing. You're just like really present in
Hmm.
your own body,
Yeah.
which is very, very powerful. So,
Yeah.
and
Well,
yeah, not to minimize coming with your friends. Like, please
no, no, no,
bring
no.
all
I'm
your
not
friends
saying
to
that.
Glimmers.
This is for just
Oh,
someone who's like sitting at home waiting around for
oops.
people to join them on their adventures. It's like
Yes,
you can
exactly.
go and do it on your own. If your friends want
Yes.
to come, great. But even if they cancel, just come. Because I think
Hmm.
the main theme, I was at a different event last week for International Women's Month, and
Oh,
it was for the BIPOC Women's Society, and they're doing great work as well. It's led by two Black, beautiful women, and they bring people in community and hold space as well. But I think the common discussion that we had with the people there was that, Vancouver can be a very hard city to connect with people. And a lot of people tend to get more isolated staying at home because they don't have a buddy to go with,
Yeah.
they don't have a girlfriend, a friend,
Yeah.
whatever, to go out with. So I think taking the first step as an individual can open up those doors for you. If you can just, be brave enough to step out, it can be a beautiful thing, and you can meet fantastic people like Fanny.
Yes, exactly. Like Ruby.
Yeah. So I guess you touched about on healing, and I guess rest. I guess that is an important theme in your work as well. I think you spoke earlier about having, I guess, disabled artists or people with illness in this Glimmers and docu-series, and also in your own community. I wonder if you can speak to that as a creative and taking care of yourself, and then navigating healing and illness as a Black individual in Vancouver. Some of the amazing people you may have met or support systems that people can access, and also some of the challenges, perhaps. Obviously, there's challenges. So, yeah, maybe you could speak to that a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, so I have Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. And I was only diagnosed actually since I moved to Vancouver in 2023. So it's been an interesting, it is recent. It's been an interesting journey. I've had health issues throughout my 20s, but it really sort of exploded in 2023. But I'm also extremely grateful for the healthcare system in Vancouver, because I was actually finally diagnosed with Crohn's, and that had likely been what was going on before in my life. Yeah, there have definitely been some tricky things navigating the healthcare system. I think people don't realize how real racial biases are, specifically towards Black women. Just like the denial of pain is something
Suffering.
that I experience quite often. I've experienced quite often in the ER. Also, just things like just not knowing how things present on other skin tones. Like one of the symptoms that I've been struggling with a lot over the last 18 months was rashes. And so, being in the ER and having that examined, and then there just being so much uncertainty around that, has been a very interesting experience and kind of shocking, to be honest. Especially because I'm gonna just say it, I'm even a light-skinned Black person, so I'm kind of like, hello, like, what about my sister was in here darker? Like, what do you mean you don't know? Because you've never seen this on Black skin, and unfortunately to just be met with homophobia a lot. Just in the denial of my partner as my partner.
I guess the systemic barriers that are there.
Yeah, and I think, it's surprising, and it definitely every time just unsettles something within a person emotionally. And I think those are those moments when we turn more deeply to art, to these things that feel more restorative and joyful, like, to have an appointment like that and then be like, okay, but we're going to jam out with our friends later tonight. It kind of it does recalibrate the energy. It literally can change the course. Yeah, exactly. Or there have been, other moments where it's like, something that has not gone well at an appointment, or there's been like bad medical news, and it's like, okay, let's just sort of cancel the night and we're having a collage night in the apartment, you know? And I think the one beautiful thing about having folks around us who also live at the intersection of disability is this flexibility and fluidity that exists within the relationships, of being able to just switch things and flow with how people's bodies are working, you know, like, and that has been a really beautiful thing, that it's like, okay, we don't have to, you know, do something strenuous. Like, we can be restful and still have it, still be together and it be abundant, you know, like, like we did some filming with Brandon the other day, and we were like, all like, oh, we're going to go out for dinner after and it'll be a cute date and all of this. And we were all exhausted. And we're like, yeah, order in food and sit on this couch and just like keep chatting. Yes. You know, like, so it's just all of those things, or, you know, like things that wouldn't necessarily work in other environments. Like, we've canceled a whole day of filming before because we just like, the bodies couldn't. But we have this faith and trust that we're like, okay, we will, as soon as we're better, like we'll reschedule it, we'll, you know, we'll get it. And just, this beautiful understanding. And it's never like perceived as a lack of like work ethic or anything like that, because there's this fluid understanding. And it's like, when our bodies can, you know, we do, and then we do what we can to our capacity. So I got off on a tangent a little bit. I'm sorry,
No,
Ruby,
I'm following everything you're saying. You're not on a tangent at all. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Thank you.
You know, I'm thinking about it because I think in relation to, I guess, people with disabilities, and in particular to Black people, in terms of the history in North America, is that Black people are not viewed as human or having emotion. And they are always, I guess, the proverbial workhorses. You know, they literally built nations. I mean, look across the border. So that empathy that Black people don't get tired. Black people are strong. Black people can endure. And that's the narrative. And we must push through. And that's the theme that usually goes through most Black people's experiences. There's no empathy or sympathy or support when they're going through illness, a disability, or just general burnout and tiredness. You know, there's no empathy with that. And I think it's also internalized, where people have to show up all the time. They feel like they have to show up. And you having that understanding as a community that, hey, today it's just not happening. And you hold space, and there's no guilt with that. There's no guilt in resting. There's no guilt in admitting that today is not the day. Tomorrow may be a better day. And I think that accommodation, especially for people with different needs, is important. And when you were speaking about the healthcare system in Canada, I mean, obviously it's a hot topic right now. We won't get into that too much, but you know, I think for me, I had my own personal experience where I had to take a pause, obviously, on the blog last year, because I was going through something quite serious. Still am. It's not. It's. I wouldn't say it's resolved, but it's a work in progress. It's a continuous work in progress. And there's a period where I was in and out of the hospital, blood tests, blood work. And this was my first time in my adult life where I'm dealing with a lot of these MRIs.
Oh, wow.
You know, the cost of healthcare, the certain things that, you know, the wait times, the like you were speaking to as a Black, dark-skinned woman, the way you're treated, I said, in some regards, where people may not take you seriously when you're in, you know, when you come into the ER and you're trying to be seen, you're trying to be heard, or just a simple thing is trying to draw blood. I kid you not, I went, and at one point it took 2 or 3 people to draw my blood, because they're not used to taking blood from a dark-skinned Black African woman or person. And, you know, these are the nuances and things that we go through as Black people in the city and in North America and Canada as a whole. And I don't want to criticize the healthcare system, because I know there's so many amazing individuals who are doing the best they can with what the resources they have. And it could be worse, it could be that we don't have access to this and we would have to pay. But there are still some nuanced experiences as Black women and Black people. And yeah, I just thought I'd speak to that and be candid and vulnerable a little bit.
Yeah, and I appreciate that so much, Ruby. And I just want to say, like, I see you, and the one thing that I'm feeling really called to say is we are like so lucky to have the healthcare system that we do. And also, I don't believe that means that we shouldn't be able to critique it, because these experiences that we have, they stay in our bodies. The healthcare practitioner, the several who couldn't take your blood, they don't think about that. They go on their day. They have forgotten that. They have forgotten that ever happened, where that lives in your body. So I think that it's okay to recognize our gratitude and to also say, hey, like, this is where the system is falling short, and like, where can we shorten up these shortcomings, because it doesn't have to happen, and for on the other side too, like, I want people who are doing like really great at their job to like be able to share that more with like their colleagues, as opposed to getting caught in these like systemic barriers and shortcomings, So I felt called to say that, because I do sometimes also feel the need, as a Black person who is navigating the healthcare system, and sometimes does make a critique of it. I feel abundant gratitude, and also I think it's okay to share, like, when a situation was not okay. Because I just want somebody else, if they experience that situation, to know that it wasn't okay and it's not about them. Because I think that I used to internalize some of that and being like, oh, I'm a burden, or like I made this person's job harder.
Like, I know.
I'm like, no, we are existing. Like,
I know. I try to tell myself that. I'm like, what would a white woman do? They would cry, make a scene, they would, they don't question their pain, I guess. But then I guess it's just a systemic internalized thing that we're trying to break free of. But thank you. Thank you for seeing me.
I do. I see you. And I think too, whenever I make like a critique too of the healthcare system, then I always do like try and look at myself too. And like the other thing that it's like deeply rooted within this, I think specifically as Black women, and with the denial of pain, is like, I sometimes deny myself my own pain. Like that I'm not honest with myself even about how painful something is. So I'm like, okay, well, let's deal with that.
We're playing it down. We play it down a lot.
All the time. So, that's, I try to do both work. I'm like, hey, if I'm going to call you out, I'll call myself out too, So that's the other thing. I also think it's totally okay to just like do a call out when you're also willing to look at yourself.
Yeah, that's true. Well, thank you. I mean, I think that was a very important conversation we had there.
And I think, really hope that I know that there's another Black woman out there who's going to be listening to this, who's having some sort of health issues. And so I just hope that hearing some of that feels like really empowering to stand up for what they need.
Yeah. Well, I think that is a good place to I guess wrap it up, and I guess get into a final, I guess, word on the podcast. So I guess, I don't know if you want to tell people, just to give them a little short blurb on the show on March 27th at Performance Works at Granville Island. It starts at, I guess this says doors 6 p.m. And there's many, many amazing people. So I don't know if they have any last words on the docu-series and the event coming up on the 27th.
Yeah, just my last little plug is you're invited to the poetry and music show, Glimmers, March 27th. I think it's going to be such a beautiful, special evening of music and poetry. There's going to be a collaborative performance by myself, Brandon, and Adonis. We're debuting a 3-way spoken word poem that has never been debuted before. And then we'll be heading into a collaborative jam with everybody, with Kinfolk Nation, with Josh Eastman, with Haley Sullivan, Rowan Stone, and Tula Van Dam. And it's just going to be an amazing, amazing evening. And I think if, you're in Vancouver and you're just looking for a connection and a beautiful night of community, I think you should come. It's going to be great.
Yes. And then when can they watch the docu-series, or this is going to be announced later?
Yes, the final announcement of the docu-series will come soon. I know that it will be debuting sometime in late July, but stay tuned for an exact date.
Okay, stay tuned. I mean, if it comes out, I'll definitely post about it.
Oh, thank you, Ruby.
Yes, I'll definitely post about it. So yeah, you guys check it out. And then if you want tickets, this is, I guess, an official announcement that we have event listings and a calendar on our website now on blackvanclub.com.
Yeah.
So Fanny's event is on their Glimmers. If you go on there, you'll see it and you can grab your tickets and see all the amazing things that they're doing. And it was a pleasure having you. It was a very candid conversation. I think I got
we got real
vulnerable here. I haven't been this vulnerable on this platform, but I think that's good. I think just because of you and you sharing your story,
Ruby,
allowed me to open up a little bit about my story. And hopefully one day I can share in full.
Yeah.
You know.
I hope so. I'm ready to listen whenever you're ready to share.
Yes. Well, for those who are tuned in, thank you again for tuning in to another episode of Black Van Club on the Mic podcast.
My name is Samara Joy, and this is my first time in Vancouver, but if you're from here, join the Black Van Club.
What's up, Black Fan Club? It's your boy Ryan Davis, and I'm in your city. It's all come together. It can be a family reunion.
Yo, what's up, Black Fan? What's up, everybody? Yo, all my people, all my Caribbean brothers, my Haitian brothers, my Zimbabwe, Nigerian, everybody. Black Fan, come see your man. Oh, boom, 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 boom.